Do you ever feel that pressure or feeling where you have to do things perfectly all the time? And when you're done, it's never good enough? So that's called perfectionism. I'm not gonna pretend I know how to fix perfectionism, but I'd like to share what works for me. So basically, I'm not an expert, but I'm gonna pretend to be for the next 4 minutes. So we're gonna simplify perfectionism into 3 steps. And I'll use my drawing that I did last week as an example. So step 1 is creating unrealistic expectations. That's when we hold ourselves to a very high and unrealistic standard. I wanted to draw Chadwick Boseman, and I knew 2 things. 1 is I'm not the greatest artist in the world, and 2, I hadn't drawn anything in a couple years. Yet, I had the expectation that whatever I did make had to be amazing, and that I had to get it perfect on the first try. Of course, it didn't work out that way. So that was an unrealistic expectation. And the second reason why people experience perfectionism is comparing our draft to someone else's masterpiece. So that's when we compare our work in progress to someone's best work. So this is my draft. There are a lot of way better Chadwick Boseman art pieces out there. And when I compare my art to their art, I think, wow, theirs is so good and mine is okay. When I say okay, I mean it sucks. He doesn't even look like Chadwick Boseman. And I even do this with other people's YouTube videos. It's easy to become discouraged and think, wow, their stuff is so good, mine is not. I should just stop making stuff. And the last step to perfectionism is ignoring the process. The process is everything in between, from start to finish. This is when we look at someone's masterpiece and ignore all the preparation, all the planning, and all the years of trial and error to even get to that point. And when I look at someone's masterpiece, I go, wow, it must have been so easy and effortless for them. So this creates an unrealistic and unfair perception of how great work is actually created. Worst is that it emphasizes how good work or great work should be easy, instant, and effortless. So the cure? Embrace the suck. Yes, embrace the suck. Embracing the suck has 3 steps. Step 1, create realistic expectations. Expect to suck in the beginning. So instead of expecting perfection from the very beginning, expect to suck because that's how life works. This draft sucks. I should have expected this draft to suck because it's a draft. It's supposed to suck. Yes, this sucks, and it took me 3 hours to do. This one took way longer. Remember to expect to suck in the beginning. Step number 2 is comparing your draft to your previous draft. Means you will suck in the middle. So when I compare my draft to someone else's masterpiece, it's very discouraging. So instead of trying to make the best Chadwick drawing of all time, I'm just trying to make the best Chadwick drawing that I could do. So this, even though it looks nothing like Chadwick Boseman, is better than nothing. It's improvement. And when I compare my draft to my final piece, there's an improvement there too. And the script for this, everything I'm saying right now, it took 5 drafts. We're better off when we compare our work to our previous work and celebrate the growth and the learning and the improvement. And the last step, respect the process. Yes, you'll suck here too. Instead of focusing on the final product or the masterpiece, focus on the process. All of the stuff in between. Acknowledge that this task is gonna take a lot of time and effort and a lot of work. We're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but we're also going to learn from those mistakes. So let me draw out the process it took to actually make this drawing. It started out with an idea. I thought I could place a printed photo of him on water and it would show through. It did not work. That was literally my whole plan for the video, and it did not work. Then I came up with the idea of using this stamp. Even testing out what kind of paint would work was a process. See what I did there? Then I had to create a mock-up of what I wanted it to look like. Then I made another one. Then another one. Then realized it was unrealistic to make this with a stamp, so I went with a photo. This is all part of the process. Every time I see this, aside from honoring Chadwick, I'm reminded of the process it took to create. And I try to apply this thinking to everything else. When I see Usain Bolt run 100 meters in 9.58 seconds, shattering the world record, I think, wow, I wonder what the process was like, all the years of training to get to that point. And Eliud Kipchoge, I think that's how you say his name, he ran a marathon in under 2 hours. That was thought to be humanly impossible. And he did it. And he's been training for more than 20 years. So when I see a sub 2 hour marathon, I think, wow, it took him 2 hours to do that. I also think, wow, it took him 20 years and 2 hours to do that. That's 20 years of process. And Rovio is a company in Finland that makes games. They made 51 games that didn't really work out. Then they made one more game, their 52nd game, that did a little bit better. That game was Angry Birds. Again, process. Next time I do something, I'm gonna try my best to avoid perfectionism by doing those 3 things. Number 1, create realistic expectations. Number 2, compare myself to myself. And number 3, respect the process. So I'll see you next week, and in the meantime, don't forget to suck. Their videos are so good, like they're so professional. I can't even say words properly. They probably say their words better too.